Asking questions. This is a topic that we have to fully understand in order to be able to do proper amounts of research, and the question always comes down to is how do we learn how to formulate a good question? Somebody once said there are no such things as stupid questions, and that may not be accurate. We want to come up with good questions because based on good questions we can do good research. Now, the questions that we often tend to ask, and let's look at these. We have who. Who looks at a specific person. We have what. What is a request for specific information about something. We have when. When looks at a specific time frame. When would be the best time to plant something? When would be the best time to harvest something? When would be the best time to do this? And these are often valid questions. During what phase of growth would be the best time to apply water? Where? With location. Where could we find something? Where is something more likely to occur? That's a very good question in there. How? How does something work? How does thing get from point A to point B? How says, in what way are we doing this? Or in what manner? Now, when we look therefore at these questions, we have who, what, when, where, how, which are all very viable questions about how to gather information about certain things so that we can deal with them. Then we have the question why. And the question why is one that is often very difficult to understand. We often do something in life and somebody asks, well, why did you do that? And a lot of times we start thinking about a reason and we're going, oh, I don't have a very good reason about why we did it. We just did it. It sounded good when we were thinking about it. And why is really a question that requires synthesis of information, and a lot of times when we deal with why questions, we really aren't looking for something that we can document or prove, but rather what we're looking at is we're trying to gather a way that we can kind of understand something. But often why questions give us virtually no new information. It really comes down to a synthesis of information. So when we're asking questions, we need to look at all of these different ones. Why deals with for what purpose or what reason. And sometimes we don't know what the reason is and we aren't quite sure what the purpose is. Why requires interpretation of data and more than that. So why is a question that you might ask at the end of experiment when you're trying to show what you did and how that has become important. But why is not really the focal questions that you look at when you start doing experimentation. And it says right there, why requires a higher level of thinking. Now, here's your question. What questions do you want to answer with your thesis? When you start with the end in mind. What is it you want to study? How do you want to study it? And what sort of results do you want to get out of it? And then you start asking the questions on how do we get to there from where we're starting at. And all of this becomes very important in learning how to ask a proper question.